How many of you would agree that we live in a chronically negative world, huh? I don't know how many of you get beat up by negative voices, but it's so real, happens all the time. The voices of discouragement, you go to work and your project's not good enough, you come apart and come home, somebody picks you apart, you go to school and you don't do good enough, your in-laws tell you you're not raising your kids right, and your kids tend to agree. You post a photo on Instagram and it's a good one, you know it's a good one, it's got the perfect filter. The caption was hot, you know it was hot, it was inspired by God, and it doesn't get as much play as someone else's photo, and you've got hard data, you're a loser, and then you get a new pair of pants and you wear them out and they say, are those new pants? And you say, yes, they are, and then they say, oh, and that's it. Oh. Not like, just oh. Like, these are new pants. I paid a lot of money for them. The voices of discouragement. It's amazing how much voices can lift you, move you toward revival, or hurt you, pull you back, drag you down. It's amazing how much one voice can change the climate, the atmosphere, your attitude, your posture, your faith, how one voice can lift you or one voice can tear you down. I spent years really upset because when I was in the, I think it was 8th grade, I was swinging with this girl next door. Her name was not like on a real swing set, not like swinging, you know. And anyway, her name was Ashley Chambliss, and I usually change the name of who it is, but that's her real name, because she hurt my feelings so much. If she's watching this, I'm just calling you out, Ashley. And so anyway, I'm swinging on this swing, and Ashley's by me, and she said, you have an ugly profile. And I didn't know what her profile was, so I said, what's her profile? She said, from the front, you're kind of cute, but from the side, you're really ugly. And I said, well, I don't understand that. Why? And she said, because you got the biggest nose in history, okay? And it's still big now, but when I was like the 8th grade, my head was smaller and my nose was the same size. My face has kind of grown into it a little bit. But I never knew that, because when I looked in the mirror, all I saw was like straight on. And from straight on, it just looked rather normal. And I kind of argued with her, like, my nose isn't big. She's like, yeah, your nose is really big and it's really ugly. I'm like, no, it's not. And I was really disturbed by it. So I went home and I got out a mirror and I actually looked sideways into the mirror. And I was like, oh, dear Jesus, it is really big, you know. And I'm telling you, as silly as it sounds, like, from that moment on, I was scared to be sideways with any girl. Anytime I meet a girl, I'm standing in front of you. Like, if you're coming over, I'm like this kind of stuff, you know, and there's no, and there's no way I'm letting you get beside me. Right? And I was terrified of this. One word, man. So I literally was afraid to ask people and all this kind of stuff. I met my wife, Amy, and we met on a blind date, which worked in my favor, because we got a big nose. You want to meet on a blind date, you know. And so someone told her, I was like, yeah, I was a new Christian, like I was really godly and stuff, and they told her I looked like Tom Cruise. And so I go, that's really cool, you know. And so when I met her, I knocked on the door, and she had this big, like this, you look like Tom Cruise? And she's like, oh, like this, and she's like, he doesn't, you know. But anyway, we're talking after a while, and she seemed to like me, and it was like, I'm kind of having a vulnerable moment, like, but are you cool with my nose? And she's like, I love your nose. Like, you what? She said, and then she goes, your nose is like my favorite thing about you. And then she said, I never will forget this. It's like, she goes, your nose, and she got like this really excited thing. She goes, she said, it's a strong, sexy, Roman nose. Get a tight shot. Is that the tight camera? Get a tight shot. Strong, sexy. I was like, you want to stroke this nose? You can stroke my nose. You can stroke that strong, sexy Roman nose. You can stroke my nose. And all of a sudden, that just happened, okay? It's amazing how one word can tear you down, hurt you, discourage you, or one voice of encouragement can build you up, build your faith, change literally the direction of your life. And I would argue that one of the most spiritual things you can actually do is encourage someone else in the things that matter most. One of the most spiritual things you can do is to bring a word of encouragement, because our God is actually an encouraging God.